Welcome to the video Knowing Your Funder, which is part of the Everything You Need to Know About Grant Writing series. Keep your friends close and your funders closer. This saying reminds us that when we ask someone, even a friend, for money, we're creating a special relationship. One where there is a reciprocation implied. And in granting world, this is true. Successful grant writers always remember that grant applications are as much about the funder as they are about the project. They are giving out funds to groups to help them achieve their own goals, which will be outlined in their organisation's plans. This is a partnership, so treat it that way. Therefore, a good question for you to ask yourself is, how can our project help the funder meet their stated grant priorities? If you're unsure, it's a good idea to contact the grant writing team. As we discussed earlier, granting bodies such as council or philanthropic groups don't just have a bag of money to give away to any great idea that a community member suggests. They have strict guidelines and reporting processes where they are accountable to the community, the council, a board, or other governments. That means that if you want to make it easy for them to say yes to your grant application, you have to understand their priorities and procedures and make sure you fit their guidelines. So how do you do that? Well, step number 1 is to read the grant guidelines and read them again. Step 2, check if you fit the eligibility criteria. Step 3, work out what funding stream is most suitable for your project because it may fit in a few areas. Step 4, if possible, do the research into the organisation's key objectives. And most organisations, whether it's council or other governments, will have this on their website. Funding bodies are encouraged by groups and organisations who are able to work with partners. Groups who can partner with others demonstrate that they have a collaborative culture, and it also shows that the committee is looking outward. It may surprise some groups that funders often receive funding applications for a number of projects that have a similar focus. And when groups form a partnership, sure, they may extend the value of the investment, but more importantly, they may deliver a more comprehensive project. When groups partner with other organisations, it also helps both groups to expand their view of the issue and may even develop more innovative solutions and grow their knowledge. So it's really useful to consider the following questions. Are you the only group that can run this project? And if yes, why? If no, who are the other groups? And how might you partner together with them? And don't forget, as I said earlier, it's useful to take your project idea to stakeholders and members, or even the broader community, to test it and get their ideas and feedback. These strategies help to make projects and funding applications a lot more robust. There are other groups that are important to recognise throughout the project process, such as partners, stakeholders, and your team. Partners are people or groups or businesses that have agreed to work collectively with you to achieve your project goals. They often have representation on your steering committee because without them your project might falter. Stakeholders, on the other hand, are people or groups or organisations or business that have an interest or concern in your project or its outcomes. They may not be directly involved in the project, but they're interested in what you're doing. So some examples of other stakeholders are residents, community groups, developers, government workers, businesses, or neighbourhood leaders. So there's a lot of them out there. Stakeholders are important to the success of any project. It's important to treat them as respected partners, and this means keeping them informed. The danger is when a project is in full swing, it's easy to forget to communicate with everyone, and it's important to remember that the relationships will sustain you long past this project, so they need to be nurtured. To keep everyone informed, a communications plan is a great tool. A communication plan sets out who are the people we need to keep informed, what are the key messages, what type of communication channel do you use, how often to connect different stakeholders together, dates when you should be connecting with them, and who is responsible for reporting deadlines. Recognising the funder's contribution is important. Some funding bodies have clear guidelines as to how they want this to happen. Perhaps it's placing their logo on all your marketing material or your web page. But having thought about this at the beginning of your project will allow you to plan and do it respectfully and prevent any misunderstanding at the end of the project. So examples of recognition could include recognition of their logo, but you could come up with some good ways to partner with them through marketing opportunities and thereby helping build both of your brands at the same time. Or it might be that you give them some tickets for your event. Ask the CEO or one of the board members to open your event or invite them to do a forward in some of your material. This is about relationship building. The groups that honour the funding body are building relationships for the future and pave the way for future opportunities. So once again, begin with the end in mind.